There we go. We're recording. Welcome. Hello, everyone. And to people who are watching later, this is Discover Tai Chi in collaboration with Limb Power. And I'm Phil. I'm going to take you through some nice, easy movements today because I'm not sure where you are, but it's really hot and humid. We're going to go through movements that are probably familiar, but they've been put into a sequence created by Helen, my partner, who's currently working with a local charity on a women's mental health project, and she's helping support workers learn some simple movements that they can use in their groups with women. So I thought, okay, looks a nice program. Should we try it out? So that's what I'm going to do. Let's get into place, whether we're seated or standing. And first movement, 2 hands hold the sky. I might go backwards and forwards a little bit because I need to be able to read what Helen's program says. But let me know what you think at the end. So we've got 2 hands hold the sky, which bring the hands up, turn them over, and then we're pressing up to the blue sky, hold it for a moment, and then we just let the hands fall away. And then once again, bring the hands up slowly, turn the palms over. Just follow along. Have a sense of settling into your feet, into the ground as we come down, whether you're seated or standing. Lends itself to a big breath in if you wish, and then a breath out. I know my hands are disappearing, but that's okay. Let's do this one more time. Okay, cast your cares away. Again, very simple, but add some nice rotation. This is my right hand. I'm casting my cares away to the left, looking in that direction, and then my left hand casts off to the right, and that's the movement. Very simple. Mobilizing the shoulders, head and neck. If you're standing up, there's some weight shift going through the stance. If you're seated, you're having to use those muscles of the trunk to stabilize as well as turn through the torso. So just from one side to the other. You can think of throwing a ball, or you can think of splashing in water. Those are 2 good ways to think about this movement. So I'm going to do one more movement to each side. And then look to the next movement. Flower opening. So this is a very nice movement. So we're going to imagine that we're flowers and we're closed. So we bring the backs of our hands together. If you sat down, bring the backs of our hands together. We're looking down at the ground. Morning comes and we open up. Lift the rib cage, lift the chin. Let the hands fall behind. And then imagine nighttime comes. So we fold up again, looking down, backs of our hands together. And then once again, open up again. Nice movement. You could imagine again, breathing in as we close up. And then breathing out as we open. And Tai Chi and Qigong is exactly like this series of opposites of opening and closing. So that's nice, and it helps give us a little stretch through the shoulders, through the neck, and then it helps open the chest and the shoulders as we lift the rib cage and look up. I'm going to do that one more time because that seems to be helping my back a bit. There you go. Open it. Lovely. Okay. So, next movement. If we're standing up, a wider base, excuse me, frog in my throat. If we're sat down, again, we want to have this sense that we can shift weight from one side to another. So one of the images that has come to mind over the past few weeks in different classes is that actually we're the ones in a boat and we're shifting weight from one side to the other very gently, and we're just rocking the boat from left to right and then from right to left. And we're in control, so we can rock the boat as little or as much as we like, but obviously we don't want to rock it too much. But that gives us a sense of hopefully being in control of this weight shift. We're balancing the boat as we shift it from one side to the other, whether you're sat down or seated. So if we come back to the center and kind of bring the boat to a stop, we can pick up our palms. As we go overhead, we turn the palms. I'm going to look to my left, drop the left hand, but I'm going to rock my boat to the right. And then I'm going to recenter, pick the palms up, overhead, turn the palms, and as I look to the right, dropping the right hand, I rock my boat to the left. And that just seems like a good idea. We just go from one side to the other, shifting our weight to rock that boat gently, meaning that we've got to be active in our balance. And if you can hear dogs barking, it's just for neighbours. Shifting weight. Go one more. Don't worry if we're a little bit out of sync. And then come back to the centre. So that's our first kind of opening sequence of movements. And we'll move into the next movement. So big opening movement from Shibashi 2, where we pick the hands up right overhead and then bring the hands down, palms down again. Really big, really open up the ribcage and the chest. And down again, whether we're seated or standing. Once again, it lends itself maybe to a big breath in and a breath out. One more time. I'll just step back a little bit. So, fisherman casts his net, puts us back on a kind of watery theme. Maybe again we can be in our boat, whether we're standing up or seated. And this time we're casting a net from one side and then to the other. I'm going to go with my right hand overhead if you want to follow along, left hand down. So that means that I'm turning to the right and I'm rocking a little bit to that side, and then I'm going to turn to the left as I exchange and roll the hands over. So again, if you're to imagine yourself in a boat, there would be a gentle rock of the boat from one side to the other as we shift a bit of weight and as we turn the torso from one side to the other. Again, you can work within a range that suits you. I'm going to do one more. Last side. Again, don't worry if we're a bit out of sync. Come back to the center. Excellent. Okay, I'm going to sit down, join those people who are seated for the next movement or so. And we're going to pull our rope. So this again lends itself to a wider stance if we're standing up. Keeping with a watery theme, our boat, we could imagine, is out in the harbour. We're on the harbour side. There's a boat that, there's a rope that connects us to that boat. And we're going to bring our hands in. Reach out with a hand and arm, doesn't matter which one you start with. And then wrap around and pull that boat towards us with the intention of bringing that boat completely to the side of the harbour. So reach, pull, roll the shoulders so that you get as long a pull as you possibly can. I turn to the side. As we do this, you can see there's a bit of a lean into the movement as I reach and then pull. And we bring our boat to shore. If you can picture the scene, so much the better. Research seems to suggest that if we really imagine our boat, its material, its colour, its size, the rope even, what the material of a rope is, the kind of day we're experiencing could be different from what we've got right now. Pull that boat in, and it seems that by really imagining the scene, we really get the whole body to engage in that movement or exercise. Okay, can't spend all day pulling boats in though, so let's have 2 more pulls, one on each arm, and make the last pull slow and steady. Bring the boat into shore. And then we'd wrap the rope or line around the bollard, wouldn't we? And secure it. So we've pulled our boat in. Okay, I'll stay seated, but if you wish to stay standing, we're going to carry the moon back to Earth. The moon will be on the right side, first of all. And again, we're trying to get a bit of weight on one side as we do so. So it's, again, really helping us use those trunk muscles. So if we look up a little bit to the right, let the hands fall open and then come up and round and reach as high as you can. Imagine that we bring the large sphere of the moon to the front, and then we lower it back down to the earth. And then just as we do so, we look up to the left, and there's another moon up there for us to reach, bring in front and lower down. So we should be really lengthening. It's almost like doing a ballet type movement, if you think about it. Really long, reaching movement round in the arms and hands, just because we'd have to do that to get our hands and arms around the moon and bring that moon down to earth from each side. Wonderful. Make that the last one. It's quite a strong movement. Okay. Still on the theme of rotation. Okay, so we're going to hold 2 imaginary soup bowls. Right hand is going to tip that imaginary bowl of soup and push it across to the left. Turn the palm over, bring back a new bowl of soup, and then do the same. Tip over the left bowl and push to the right. And I'm looking in the direction in which I push. So I'm back on the right hand, I'm looking to the left and pushing to the left. And that creates this stretch and mobility through the shoulder. Same with the left hand, looking in each direction and creating some length through the arms and shoulders from one side to the other. Okay, one more. Again, don't worry which side you're on. Do one more. Bring everything back. And then our Tai Chi movement, wave hands in clouds or cloud hands. Again, seated, standing. I'm going to have my right hand on top. This is where we imagine that we're embracing someone we like. If I turn to the side, you can see I've got that sense of embracing someone. Okay, so the hands aren't too close to the body. Because my right hand's on top, I'm going to shift some weight, turn a little bit. As I take my imaginary partner to the right, I take my hand off their shoulders, swap hands, left hand now on top. So that tells me to turn, lean or shift weight in that direction. And then I'm just alternating from one side to the other. The rules of the road are whichever hand is on top, that's the direction in which we turn. It can take a bit of practice sometimes to get the coordination, so you can always revisit the video to get this movement down. But there's a weight shift. Again, I'm shifting weight in my seat from one hip to the other. And if you're standing up, there's some weight shift from one leg to the other. And there's also rotation going on. I'm looking again in the direction in which I'm turning. Just breathing very comfortably. I'm going to do one more turn. It just so happens it's on my right side. Don't worry if it's on your left. And simply come back to the center. It's as if the music comes to an end. Our dance partner goes away. There we go. Nice dance. Okay. Crane. We're going to place one palm on top of the other. Okay. If I turn a little bit as an angle to the camera, we're rolling the wrists up. The fingers fall behind. I lift my rib cage, look up slightly, roll the fingers over, and now it's the wrists that lead the movement down. And then I part my hands, push the palms behind as if pushing through water, and I'm lifting my rib cage, lifting my chin a little bit to open the shoulders and the chest. And then I relax. And then opposite hand on top this time, roll up. Again, a sense of length and tallness, looking up slightly, and then roll down. Part the hands, push the palms behind, but again, try to open the chest by lifting the rib cage. And once again, alternate hands. Again, could be a breath in, down. Nice movement. Pushing behind, so we're trying to extend the hands behind. Going to do one more movement. Pushing back. Lovely. Crane from the 5 Animals Play Qigong set. One of the oldest sets of movements that we have on record. Okay, back to some flowers. Here we are unfurling. So again, hands can hang nice and loosely by our sides. And then a squeeze as we squeeze our hands into a light fist. And then we let the fingers fall open and let the hands fall all the way down before we squeeze them back up again. And then once again, sung, this quality of letting go. Let the hands fall all the way down before picking them back up. Could be with a breath in if you wish. Once again, let the hands fall away. And as we squeeze on this next one, we're going to turn the palms forward so that they fall forwards, but in a similar fashion, we let them fall all the way down before picking them back up again. So we've got to be patient. We let the hands fall and we wait until they can fall no further. And then pick up. Once more, let the hands fall away. Okay, on this next set, we're turning the palms out as they fall away and they gently press out to the side, palms outwards. Then we turn back in. And once again, turning the palms, gentle press outwards and then back in. Okay, final set in this movement where we catch an imaginary ball and then we let it go, drop it and let the hands drop and then bring them back up for a squeeze. Catch that imaginary ball by turn to the side, drop it, let the ball drop away, but at the same time let the hands drop away. Then final squeeze, final catch, and then that final drop. It's just perfect. Okay, let me stand up. Last few movements. Breeze blowing through the willows. Very apt for a hot, sticky day like this. We've got a bit of a breeze coming in the evening. This is where, whether we're seated or standing, if we can, we put a bit of the emphasis on each side. Right leg, in this case my prosthetic side, I'm pushing it forward a little bit. It could just be an inch or so, it could be a bit further, whatever works for you. And then I'm just letting both hands and arms swing as I shift some weight forwards and back. Again, this could be a relatively small movement for some people. For others, it might be a bit bigger, larger. Again, we have to be mindful of our balance, of our stability, and our ability to maintain our balance as we go. So just gentle sweeps of the hands and arms. And then I'm going to do the same on the left side. Again, could be a bit of an emphasis. We're either pushing that leg forward, taking a bit of a step maybe. If we're seated, we're just bringing some emphasis. And once again, we lead off by sweeping the hands to and fro. Back and forth. Okay, we'll bring that to a close. And another bit of a challenging movement. We're going to gaze at the moon. It's night time. The moon is up above but behind us, and we're spiraling to turn to look towards it again. It might only be a little bit of a turn as we look to the right, lifting the hands and arms as if to point up to the moon, and then to the left to do the same thing. And there's a sweep, a look, and a point, and it feels like a spiral coming up from the ground. Again, whether we're seated or standing, there's a lot of rotation going on. And that's quite a challenge. So we need to be mindful of that challenge as we go through the motions. Just breathing comfortably. I'm going to go one more to each side. So last one, if you're with me, to finish. And we wrap things up in that nighttime environment with our familiar gather celestial energy and gather earth energy movements that seem to just bring things nicely to a close. So again, seated or standing, we want to have a sense of growth or uprightness as well, picturing a night sky above, bringing the hands around, palms down, sliding them up. Again, the rib cage can lift as we look up, and then slowly bring the hands down, as if we bring some stars down to earth. Gather those stars, hold on to them for a moment before letting them go. And then we pick the hands up to each side and we wrap ourselves in an imaginary blanket made of all the earth, multicolored. And then we let that fall away too. And then we'll pick the hands up for a final time. Look and gaze upwards towards the sky. Bring some stars down to earth. Gather them up. Hold on to them for just a moment before we let them go. And when we do our final wrap or embrace with our blanket, folding the arms, letting that blanket fall away, and then just bringing the thumbs together, resting them lower abdomen, just below the navel. Take a breath in, let it go deliberately, purposefully, and just breathe very naturally. Rest your eyes if you feel like doing so. And just 30 seconds, just kind of being present, focused, taking notice, whatever adjective works for you. And then we can let the hands part, and that tells us that that's the end of a session. So I hope you like that little combination of movements that Helen, my partner, has put together, aimed at a women's mental health group. You can tell me what you think. I think it's a jolly good set of movements for that purpose. So I'm going to see you next week, hopefully. For people who are watching later, don't forget you can get in touch. We have our WhatsApp group that you can use to get in touch and ask any questions. Let me stop the recording